I go to this town in Spain that I had never heard of before. So it wasn't Barcelona, it wasn't Madrid, it was this tiny town. And I remember rocking up to the town with mum, super nervous and just looking around this town. And I was thinking, okay, it's nice, it's by the sea, but it was this small town. And I had this vision of a big city. So I move into an apartment and I'm living there on my own. My mum helps me move in, but then mum flies back to London. And a couple of days later, I'm completely on my own. I'm 20 years old, on my own, in an apartment, in a town that I've never heard of before, just thinking, what have I done? And it was actually the first time I'd ever lived totally alone. I don't know who else has lived alone before, but it's like, you never actually know what it's like to be on your own until you're living alone. You think you know what it's going to be like when no one else is at home, but it's not until you open that door and you close it behind you and nobody else is going to open or close that door other than you. It's like, it was a huge shock to the system. So I actually experienced in deep, deep loneliness during the early months of that time in Spain. I didn't know whether I'd made the right decision. I felt far away from all my friends at university. They were all still back at home. I hadn't made any new friends. I was teaching in this school where everyone was either a child or 50, and I just felt totally alone. And I remember not being able to sleep every single night out of pure loneliness. I'd broken up with a boyfriend because I was like, I want to be free. I want to be, no long distance relationship. So I was kind of missing that relationship. And what ended up happening as a result of me being deeply on my own was it took away all distractions from my relationship with myself. Do you know what I mean? And it just gave me the chance to build up a relationship with me. So I went from, first of all, thinking, oh, I have no one to hang out with on the weekends, to thinking, ooh, I don't have to, I don't have to kind of do the things that other people want to do. Like, I can just be totally selfish. And how shall I spend my day? How shall I spend my time? So dance break. So I decided, right, I'm going to learn how to skateboard. I'm going to teach myself how to DJ. I'm going to start painting. I'm going to meditate by the beach. And I was just filling my day with all the things that I wanted to do. And it was so life-giving, and I was having so much fun all by myself. And it really was a lesson in becoming friends with me. And, sure, I love other people, but feeling enough here, just this unit. And then you can take that skill and be in relationships with people or be in a large social group, but you're doing it from a place where you know that you are everything that you need. And that's what I really gained from that deep loneliness. It wasn't always fun. I also think that that's when I really was connected to, I was noticing way more synchronicities. I felt like my guardian angels were there to support me while I was just this little soul just freaking out in Spain on my own. There was actually a time when I decided I'm going to learn how to skateboard. So I was like, how difficult can it be? And I took my new skateboard and I went up to the old town in Spain and I started doing it. And I was like, oh my God, I was falling over just as soon as I lifted my foot off the ground, and I was thinking, how do people make this look so easy? I thought this would just be, I'd be a cool skateboarding girl in no time. But there I was, falling on my face and everything. And I go and I'm in the old town and I think, right, I can't skate back. Like, this is too much. So I sit at the bus stop and I check the bus times. And because it's a small town in Spain, there's one bus an hour. And for a girl from London, this is like, what? I never heard of this. So anyway, I'm sat at the bus stop and all of a sudden I hear these voices, these boys' voices shouting at me, calling at me. And all of a sudden my heart started to sink. And I saw like these boys, like they were staring at me, they were laughing, they were pointing, they were chatting to each other. And I was starting to feel really intimidated. And then they were all on skateboards. So they all started skating down to me at the bus stop. And all of a sudden I was thinking, what am I going to do? They're on skateboards and they can skate. I have a skateboard, which I cannot use, and there's not a bus for an hour. What are my options? Like, how am I going to get away from this? And just as I was starting to think, I have no idea what I'm going to do, this man on a quad bike, who's like my angel, right? White quad bike, white helmet, pulls up, loud engine, right? So they all turn around to have a look. I'm thinking, who on earth is this guy? Turns out he takes his helmet off. I'd actually met him a couple of days ago because he was friends with one of the teachers. He was like, Lucie, he was British as well. He's like, Lucie, I thought that was you. And I was like, hi. And he said, are these your friends? And I said, no. And he said, do you want to ride? And I said, yeah. He said, come on, get on. And I got on the back of the quad bike. He gave me his helmet and then we like roomed off. And I was just thinking, oh my God, like what relief, but also what would I have done? But that was I felt, oh my gosh, I am so grateful and protected. So that was a real angel moment. Wow. Anyway, I'm
white and all, or on a white bike and all.
Yeah. So I really got a chance to feel my connection to the universe during that year. And then a couple of months after this, when I was starting to find my feet and build that relationship with myself that I was talking about, I reached a point where I wasn't feeling so lonely anymore. And I was thinking, I'm enjoying this. This life is good. I'm this young, independent woman in Spain, And at that point, when I wasn't looking, of course, famous, when you're not looking, that's when I met Jamie. And we ended up, it all happened so easily and flowy. Well, actually, he did stand me up on our first date.
Drag him.
And my best friend was like, forget him. She didn't know him. She was away. She wasn't in the same town, but she was like, oh my God, never let a man treat you like that. Like, no way. Nobody can stand up my best friend. And then I was like, I know that everything is telling me that I should not give him a second chance. But I was like, you know what? Rebellious, independent woman. I'm like, I'm going to get him. I am going to get on a date with him. I want to see if I can get this guy. And then we ended up having a second date and it was wonderful. And our third date, he invited me to go on a ski trip with him. And I was like, okay. So I went on a ski trip with him and then I got to spend so much more time with him. And I realized, wow, he's such a sweet, kind person. And so, 8 years later, we're married.